Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a no-run-through review for one of the newest Marvel champions. I have totally forgot. Ironheart is who I will be talking about. And from my understanding, Ironheart is meant to be like a pseudo Iron Man. So I was very curious to see how she would play out because, I mean, we already have Iron Man in the game, and it's like, okay, well, how, is she going to be basically a carbon copy or her own thing? And I am pleased to say she is her own thing, and she is awesome. Like, she is very, very fun to play. So let's go ahead and start talking about her, and you might let's go ahead and take a look. Riri, I don't know how to pronounce her first name, but Williams. She has, recovery 3. That's pretty much the standard. I know there are some that have maybe 4 recovery or 2, but she begins the game with this card, and she has 3 other identities. This is what makes her extremely cool because, like Iron Man obviously has Tony Stark and then Iron Man, but you build up his suit through various cards, which is kind of the best way that they could have done it when this game came out. And probably the best way I still think they could do it, but the fact that she gets 3 different cards that grow into different versions of Ironheart, I think is extremely cool. So she has Child Prodigy. These all have the same abilities. The hit points stay the same. And for the alter ego side, the hand size stays the same, but things would be a little bit different on the other side. So we have, as an action, you can spend a science resource to place a progress counter on her, and that is important whenever you are looking at the other versions. So here is version 1. Version 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense. Not bad. Pretty high defense overall for her. And that's really good whenever you are trying to gain progress counters to get to your 3rd version. But this is version 1, and basically the only action is that you remove 6 progress counters to ready her and swap her to version 2. So not bad. You can still attack with her or thwart if you really want to, and then spend the 6 to ready her and bring in version 2. And but you'll notice the hand size in this side is 4. I'm going to go ahead and showcase all of these because I'll explain how she works in a sec. But so then, that's version 1. Then you go to version 2, which goes up to 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 defense. So you gain 1 more thwart. And this action, but your hand size also goes up to 5 instead of 4, because having a 4 hand size is very rough to try and do anything with. But then she has the same relative ability. You need 6 progress counters on her to ready her, then give her a tough status card, and then go to version 3. So based off that's not true. So I thought the art was version 2, but version 2 definitely looks like Iron Man. And then we go to version 3, which is just super, super sexy, which is that badass suit right there, bringing her to 3 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 defense. So her attack, if I'm not mistaken, stays the same the whole time, but and her defense stays the same, but her thwart goes up. And these are really good stats: 3 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 defense. Like the attack, it's like only 2, but yeah, she can do so much quick damage that it doesn't even matter. But her hero action maximum efficiency becomes remove 1 progress counter from her to deal 2 damage to an enemy. So she just has so many ways, and that doesn't even say limit once per round. So if you actually just start stacking the progress counters, you can just start beaming one enemy or start beaming a bunch of minions. And her hand size goes up to 6. Hit points, of course, stays the same. They share across, and obviously different versions. If you're in version 2 and you lose your last hit point, you don't go to version 1 or anything, and you're still the same character. But being in hero form and having a hand size of 6 is really, really good. But you ultimately have to get 12 progress counters to go up to version 3, which is definitely not that difficult because she is built to withstand damage and to just because you don't really need to do all that much like attack. You can play the waiting game and just slowly, thwart here and there. Maybe do a few damage. Like, I'll do 1, I'll do 2 damage, because you're really wanting to stay in your alter ego to be able to gain progress counters. But let me show you how you can gain. So she has a few cards like Stroke of Genius, which is that's a resource card. After you spend it, you get to draw a card and place a progress counter on her. Her natural ability of spending a science to be able to gain a progress counter is really good, because if you can get Ingenuity, which is just that's just a regular upgrade. It's just a basic upgrade, but obviously fits well with her deck. You can only play this if you have the Genius trait, which her alter ego side does, to be able to exhaust this to generate a science resource. So if you can get this out immediately, then, and she has a few in the deck too, then, every time you go into alter ego, then you just exhaust that and get a free progress counter, pretty much. Then, if you are, I don't know who this is, but if you have Ronnie Williams out, then as alter ego, so another alter ego action, which once again you're mainly staying and just building the suit, you can exhaust Ronnie to choose. You can either heal 2 from yourself, so if you are taking damage, then you can heal yourself, or you can place 1 progress counter on her. So just these 2 cards give you the 2 that you might need. But how else are you meant to survive? Well, you have some sweet upgrades. Not as many upgrades, of course, as Iron Man, but you really don't need it. I'm pretty sure that's actually like really the only 2 mainly pertaining to her suit, like thematically. You have Photon Blasters and Propulsion Jets. These sound weak initially, but become extremely strong later on, because both of these, one, they're cheap to get out, but they both give you 2 hit points, so if you can get both of them out, then you have 14 HP, which is, once again, really good with as high of a defense as you have, and a healing factor for Ronnie. Then, as a hero action, you can exhaust Photon Blasters to deal damage to an enemy equal to your version number. So, initially, Photon Blasters just does 1 damage, and then it does 2, but then it does 3. And then Propulsion Jets does the same thing, but for threat removal, so 1, 2, and 3, depending on your version number. But the fascinating part of this is the fact that these are separate from everything. So on top of your regular stats of 3, 2, and defensive 3, if you're in your final form, which is how I'm going to start kind of referring to any type of max damage, is Photon Blasters just does an innate 3 damage on your attack of 2, 5 damage out of nowhere. Propulsion Jets, you can do a 6 threat removal, or 3 to 1, and then 3 to another. But then you have even quicker. So these are just upgrades to kind of keep her alive and also just do quick, to do something instead of just doing nothing and waiting to get progress counters. But you can get Photon Beam. This is one of her main attacks as an event, and most of her cards are relatively cheap. Some are more expensive, but because you're in alter ego form quite a bit, she's a leadership build. So you can actually waste a lot of cards. Not waste, but spend a lot of cards on some allies that cost 4 that you normally wouldn't have ever spent, because you're in alter ego form. So have your allies go out and do something while you're tinkering and making the suit. She's very thematic. I like her quite a bit. But the Photon Beam is you deal 4 damage to an enemy and place a progress counter on Ironheart. But if you defeat the enemy, you get 2 progress counters. So just from Ingenuity and Stroke of Genius, or Ingenuity and Ronnie Williams, hell, even if you do these 2 to get your 2 progress counters, and then you do Stroke of Genius to pay for Photon Beam, that gives you your 3rd one, and then your Photon Beam, let's say you kill you defeat an enemy, that could be 4 or 5 progress counters in one. You attack, then you swap to your alter ego, then do that. You can immediately almost gear up to get to your next level of suit. And then on top of that, instead of Photon Beam, if you're wanting to remove threat, you have Flyover, and that's basically the opposite of Photon Beam. Remove 3 threat and place a progress counter on you, but if you remove the last threat from a scheme, then you can place 2. So while she is extremely defensive and you're in alter ego form quite a bit, she is not, far from useless while you're doing that, which is why I like her significantly better than Iron Man, because Iron Man is very useless until you get the suit. But once you have the suit, you're god tier. He's one of the strongest. But her, I did not feel like weak at all. I mean, I felt like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll remove a threat here and there, and then, oh, okay, well, I'm taking no damage. I have 14 health. I pull out an ally, and he's doing stuff, and then, oh, now I have my third suit. Time to go out and, whoop some ass. So you might be thinking, well, like how does she start doing damage? If she is in, let's say you're in version 3. Like, well, there's one card that I'm waiting because it can do quite a bit, but mainly leaders are going to be doing stuff. Like some of them, like Falcon, for example. Like he's just a regular leader and he costs 4, but once again, you could just be like, oh, well, I mean, because you have the, what do they call it? The power of leadership, which counts as double the number of resources for leadership cards. So that could potentially only cost 3 cards, maybe even 2 if you have 2 power of leaderships. But after Falcon attacks and thwarts, spend a lightning resource to ready another champion character. That's what she is. So if you use her, you can have Falcon do something, spend a resource to then be able to ready her again. And then she has... she is mainly more on the defensive until you are ready, but she has a card called New and Improved, which costs 3, but you get to choose X different options where X is equal to your version number. So if you're in version 3, you actually get to choose all 3 of these. Search your deck for an Ironheart card, add it to your hand, give Ironheart a tough status card, or ready her. So this is something that you mainly want to wait until you are in version 3. Maybe version 2 if you don't really need to search for a card or something. Then readying, or you have more options. But I wouldn't spend 3 if you're in version 1, unless you have nothing else better to do. Let's see. If you do like Photon Beam, then while you're in version 3 and you defeat something and you just get progress counters, then it's like, okay, well, now I'm just going to, as an action, spend those to deal 2 damage to an enemy. And with those 2 that I just got from Photon Beam, so that's 4 damage already on top of the 4, so I just dealt 8. Now, this is one card. This is actually just a regular leadership card. It's not even one that's specific to her, but it's really good for her. And it is called Go All Out. So Go All Out is it's a requirement, so you need a lightning symbol to spend it. But as a hero action, you can exhaust your hero, so you exhaust Ironheart, to then deal damage to an enemy equal to your total thwart, defense, and attack. So in level 3, you're doing 8 damage just from one card going all out and shooting like this massive hyper beam. Just to then you exhaust her, but then, oh, okay, well now I'm going to do, the new, what was that called? New and Improved, and then I'm just going to ready her to bring her back in. So 8 damage is definitely not nothing. If you're playing solo, that is half over, probably even a little over half most villains you're fighting. That's actually how I beat the last villain I just played against. Like I don't think I took, no, I willingly took damage just because I was like, well, why not? And then came out and just like annihilated him. Because if you have your photon blasters out, well, that's just an exhaust for 3 damage. So there's 3. You attack with her, that's 2, so you're 5. Then you do Go All Out for 8, so that's your 13 damage just out of nowhere. With ways to ready her. And if you save up a bunch of progress counters on her, then you just spend them all for 2 damage each. She is absolutely disgusting and incredibly creative for a champion. Like, I honestly, because this came out with Nova, so Ironheart Nova, because I think Marvel or Fantasy Flight is now releasing like heroes at 2 at a time. Maybe they're theming them kind of together, or maybe they're paired in some way, but I was like, well, I know a little about Ironheart. I've heard her. I know she's getting her own TV show. But I knew nothing about Nova, but I was like, okay, well, yeah, sure, let's just see what she's like. And just the fact of the 3 different versions of leveling up, I think is extremely cool. I really, really like that. So, Let's see what other cards. I mean, she has R&D facility. This is, I mean, research counters that can go on it. So you can exhaust it and spend one to choose a friendly character. They get +1 thwart and +1 attack this phase, so that can make her a 4 thwart, 3 attack. If you have Patriot out, like a lot of the allies end up like buffing like her, or really just each other. But Patriot is, after Patriot enters, choose a champion. That character gets +1 to each of its basic powers till the end of the round. So if you do that with R&D, then that becomes like a 5 thwart, 4 attack out of nowhere. Then, I mean, she has ways to card draw as well. So Tony Stark AI. So this must be maybe after he's dead, if he is dead, or maybe she just has an AI of him around. Exhaust it to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add 1 to your hand, and discard the other. So that's ways I like, card and deck mitigation. Multiple photon beams. She has, let's see, I mean, morale boost. There's Sam Wilson as Captain America. Choose a hero until the end of the round. That hero gets +1 thwart, attack, and defense. So with R&D, with Patriot, and with morale boost, turn it into a 6 thwart, 5 attack. And then exhaust, deal damage equal to the total of your heroes. So that would also, I wonder if that Go All Out is interesting now because of that very reason. So with those 3 ways of buffing your stats, let's see. Push ahead. No, I think those 3 immediately. I mean, here's another really cool thing: morale boost. There's multiple, and this does not say limit once per phase, so you can actually play multiples of these. But Go All Out now becomes interesting because if you buffed your basic stats, Go All Out says deal damage to an enemy equal to the total of your hero's thwart, attack, and defense values, but it doesn't say your printed values. So Go All Out might actually become even more powerful if you're buffing that with morale boost and R&D and Patriot. So that could potentially, that's how I read it, because if Go All Out said printed values, then that would, I mean, that'd still be 8 damage, but it doesn't say that. So that's pretty disgusting. If that's the play. However, they're pretty expensive. Patriot is a cost 3 to be able to bring him out, and his is when he enters play. She also has another thing that's actually pretty good. This is an event. It's Sector Scan. I think she only has 1 of these in her deck. I feel like I only saw 1. Yeah. So it costs 3, but it's X equal to Ironheart's version number, so it could potentially be just a free card. To hero action till the end of the round, you may look at the top card of the encounter deck at any time. It's fine. Like, I wish this was more of an upgrade instead of an event. Like, because she only has the 1, and just, I get you, you can look at the top of the encounter deck. Okay, neat. Oh, I know this is gonna suck, but that card's just kind of whatever. But, well, now let's go ahead and see if I can make her disgusting. So we're gonna obviously assume that she is in version 3 for this to try and do as much damage. Let's just say, once again, perfect case scenario, because she doesn't have a max on progress counters, but let's cap it at 5. Let's just say she has 5 progress counters at this. I mean, she could theoretically have more, but 5 seems like good enough. Then I'm not going to do flyover because I don't care about thwart. It's all about big numbers. Ronnie Williams, I mean, she would be out, but so she has 5 progress counters. So she has her propulsion jets, just for shits, her photon blasters, and then let's say she has Falcon out. She has R&D out. She's R&D, so photon beam in her hand. Go All Out has to be in her hand. I think probably for max ability. She has Photon Beam. She can have 6 cards. New and Improved probably isn't gonna do it. I think we're gonna need the Power of Leadership for sure. Probably 2 of those. Maybe. Maybe not even Photon Beam, honestly. Like, I think, I mean, that's just 4 damage, but I honestly think just we're gonna need something that whenever you do go all out, you need. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab another, I mean, I'll just grab Push Ahead just because I just need the resource symbol. 3, 4, 5, 6. She does technically have a way to draw 2 cards, so if we put out the Tony Stark AI, that would allow her to draw 2 cards and keep 1. So there's the Tony Stark AI, it's not even in. So with that, so she could have a potential 7 cards in her hand, and once again, I think it's just gonna be, yeah, so 7. Cool, there we go. This is the card. So with that, oh no, I do know what I need. I do need another lightning bolt symbol, so I will keep Photon Beam, and that this is technically exhausted. So with this, I believe you can do the Power of Leadership and Push Ahead. Yeah, Push Ahead. Then that would allow you to pull out Patriot, which now gives her a +1 to each of her basic powers. Then you exhaust R&D and spend a research token to give her +1 Thor and +1 attack. So right now she is at a 5 Thor, 4 attack. 4 defense, but defenses. So 5 Thor, 4 attack, so we'll just remember the 4 attack. Then we are going to, yeah. Then we are going to get rid of Photon Beam to play Morale Boost, which gives her +1 to everything. So now she is at a 6 Thwart, 5 attack. Yeah, 6 Thwart, 5 attack. Then we will do the Power of Leadership to then play Go All Out. Oh, that's right. I needed the requirement to pay that. Well, I can't remember. Does requirement, while paying for this card, spend the listed resource? Requirement. Ooh. Got it. Okay, requirement. A card with her cannot be played unless each resource of the specific type is spent while paying for that card's cost. Okay, so it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. Wilds. So double the number of resources this card generates while paying for a leadership, but that's technically 2 wilds. Well, requirement isn't truly clarified in that. But just for the sake of argument, we'll say that I didn't play Morale Boost and I used that instead to play Go All Out. So she's 1 less on attack. So right now she is at... okay, so she's 5 Thwart, 4 attack. Okay. And 4 defense, so that does matter for Go All Out. So Go All Out is now doing 5, 9, 13 damage. So 13 damage from that, potentially 16 if the requirement for the Power of Leadership, the Wild, counts as that resource, but since it's a new keyword, I'm not 100% sure, so, because that would allow me to then play Morale Boost. So 13 to 16, we'll go with the lower end, so we'll do 13. So 13 damage on top of her her attacking. So 13 will have her attack, which would add 4, so that's 17 damage. Then we do photon blasters. We exhaust photon blasters to do another 3. So what did I say? 13 plus 5. So 13. I already forgot. 13 from Go All Out, and that is 5, 9. Okay, yeah, so 13, so that's going to do another 3 damage. 14, 15. So it's going to do 21 damage, if I'm remembering right now. So Go All Out, once again, that was 5, 4, and then 4. So that's 8, 9, 10, so 13. Then her attacking was 17, so then Photon Blasters is doing 3 because of her version number, so she's at 20 damage. So 20 damage from that. We have Falcon and Patriot attack because they're out, which would be another 3, so 23 damage. If we were able to get if we were able to actually do more card draw, which she doesn't have a whole lot of, and spend a lightning symbol, then we could actually ready her, but we don't have that right now, so we're at 23 total damage. And then with her ability, remove a progress counter from Ironheart, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So we said we had 5 progress counters, so that's another 10 damage. So 33 total damage from her, which is on the very high end for just an all-out attack. That's pretty impressive. Like, that's pretty disgusting. And if you can generate more card draw, then that would allow you to potentially get those symbols to have Falcon ready her again to do another 4 attack. So it could be 37 if the wild counts as a requirement, which I could see it not, but it's a wild, so I could also see it. It's kind of one of those, it could go either way. That could potentially be a total of 40 damage. So she's kind of in that 33 to 40 range if you can kind of swing 1 extra card and the clarity on requirements. So that's insane. That is absolutely disgusting. All while she's able to also just quickly remove threats, so you don't have to worry about that, while she's able to have allies tank for her, while she's able to, just defend on her own. Hell, she even has a card that's just really good to just have in a bind, is called Go for Champions, which you can only have max 1 per deck, but each champion character in play cannot take damage. So you can just spend that and be like, anyway, I don't care what the villain's doing, I'm not taking any damage. So that's absolutely disgusting. Any types of flaws, once again, similar to Iron Man. She's not as weak in version 1, but she's definitely, of course, weaker. If you're not able to get that progress generation and you're really just scrounging for stuff, she can be very slow. So that can hurt. And if you can't get these 2 progress, or if there's ways, if enemies are getting them removed, she doesn't have the most health. And like I said, she doesn't have the best way to draw cards. She has ways of defending herself, so she doesn't have to draw as many. But if you need cards, she doesn't have a whole lot. The Tony Stark AI is probably the best one that I could find. Other than that, those are really minor, and I think she's absolutely disgusting and super fun to play. I love the complexity of this character and building the 3 suits. So, with that being said, Ironheart on a scale of 1 to 10, man. Do I do it? Yeah, I think I'm going to give Ironheart a 10. I think she's super freaking fun. And, a lot of you might be like, really, another 10 or another high? Fantasy Flight is fucking killing it with these champions. I can't even think of the last one that I didn't really like. Venom, maybe? He was probably my lowest in a long, long time. But they are just making these characters an absolute blast to play, and Ironheart is really no different. So I think if you're a fan of the Iron Man character in the game, I really don't see why you wouldn't like Ironheart. And she plays radically different, but still is familiar in some way. So I think she's awesome. I really, really like the complexity and just the creativity of playing her. So that's why I'm giving her that 10. But anyway, that's it, everyone. That's my thoughts on Ironheart. Let me know what you think of her in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.